Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. You know, it's been in the news a lot lately about how Mr. Trump is having a difficult time finding $500 million to pay off his one lawsuit in New York. A lot of people are making fun of him for that. Supposedly he's a billionaire and he can't come up with a $500 million. Rounding up, it's 454 billion, I believe, and yeah, a lot of people would say that. But I see the deeper picture. First of all, he has a very strict time frame to come up with these things. When Elon Musk was buying the artist formerly known as Twitter, it took him a while to negotiate a deal because there's a lot of, equity swap, there was cash infusion, there was a whole lot of things going on. Not just Elon Musk pulling out his wallet, putting 40 million or whatever the heck it was on the table, and walking away with a brand new social media network in his pocket. That's not the way the truly rich work. Look at the look at the king. I'm sorry, it's still hard for me not to say queen. The king has a massive fortune. If you look at it on paper, it looks astonishing. But a lot of that is tied up in property, in rights, in payments that come in, but they were set at $5 a year back in the 1800s because that's what was the going rate back then. So here in 2024, yes, he has palaces, artwork, and stuff like that. But I dare say it would be pretty difficult for the king to lay his hands on a $500 million in a short period of time. So when I hear people saying, haha, Donald Trump can't get the money together, yeah, that's how he got to the top, was leveraging everything. This is where one of the problems and opportunities of our systems comes into play. A bond is both a debt and an asset. A stock is an asset. You buy stock, you get ownership in the company, and that's it. A bond, the company issues it as debt. They owe you $5 in 2 years' time. Whereas you can borrow against it, its value in the future, and it's considered an asset for you. So, despite what you're saying about all these shady dealings and stuff, yes, Mr. Trump does have many shady dealings. We'll get into a few of those in a second. But what he's doing is no different than any other billionaire. They're all the same. It's just Mr. Trump has gone bankrupt a number of times, and he's had to leverage his way out of it because it's the best trick he knows. He has property, he can borrow against it, and that's what keeps him going. So yeah, he doesn't have $500 million at his fingertips. Nobody does. And that's why he's gone to this brokerage and gotten them to put the money up in surety for him. Because that's the way business is done. If you put down surety, it's the same as cash. It's basically that company saying we'll cover his debts. Now, he's saying he needs a certain amount of money free so he can continue his presidential run. This is where things get interesting and they get less explainable. Jesse Ventura, yes, the former wrestler, yes, the former governor of Minnesota, yes, the former TV host, the commentator, all that sort of things, he's done it all. And he came up with an interesting observation. Why do these millionaires and billionaires think it's wise to spend millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars to get a job that pays $400,000 a year. I'll admit that job comes with perks and benefits, but there's so many other investments they could have made and made money off of it. Again, Elon Musk, he got a hold of X, as it's now known. He'll be able to turn that into a money-making platform. It'll take a little bit of time to erase the stain, which is why he's rebranded it. But he bought that thing knowing it was going to make money. He built SpaceX knowing he was going to lose tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. But he's already making money with it by being able to launch his own satellites, launch other people's satellites. Those are not low-cost measures. Look at Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys. He bought that thing for $100 million. It's now worth $5 billion. And even over 30 years, that's a good return on investment. The Waltons bought the Denver Broncos at $5 billion. They're the Waltons. They'll be able to hold on to that thing for eternity if they want. The Fords bought the Detroit Lions. Do you know why? Because they had the money. And a sports team, they get to play fantasy football for real. They get to go out to all those events where they want to invite owners out to look good and all that kind of thing. It's a good investment. It lets them say, oh yes, I went out and contributed to the Lou Gehrig's Disease Fund or whatever they're going to this week. It's all a big scam. But some of these owners, like George Spanos and Al Davis's kid, are actually not doing so well. They have the team, but they don't have a ton of money coming in. And that's with all the ticket sales, the stadium, the concessions, and all the things I don't even know about that's involved. Parking. Parking's another thing that they get in there. With all that, they're still considered poor when they're sitting on a team worth billions of dollars. So I understand the former president's predicament. It's not easy to do a presidential run. It's not easy to do a governmental run at all. And I've been part of a team before that did it. The only way to overcome lack of funds is you've got to go door knocking. Door to door, knock, 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 knock. Hey, I'm so-and-so representing so-and-so, and I want to tell you about the great things that they stand for. Maybe 1 in 5 houses is actually willing to talk to you. Donald Trump doesn't have time for that with all the businesses he's managing, with everything that he's doing. So he's got to make up for it with money. And that's why he has to spend millions, because there's no way he can go to every single market in the United States and knock on their doors. He can get volunteers to do it. He can get paid agents and stuff like that to do it. But let's be honest. Aside from, the biggest swing districts, he's not going to go door to door. He's got other fish to fry, particularly with his court situation. Now, looking across the aisle, Biden's not as rich as Trump, even on paper. But, the same token, Biden's fighting a few small fires. Mr. Trump is watching his empire potentially burn. And Mr. Trump is pulling the same tactic that he always does. He's delaying things. He put $179 million against that $454 million. That was just to prevent them from seizing his property. He protected his investment. And he did it with OPM, other people's money. When I was learning what I did in finance, that was the first piece of advice I was ever given. Always use other people's money to invest. Like I said, a bond. Good to have, good to know, but even better if you can buy it and have it in your possession with other people's money. Think of a mutual fund. Now, Donald Trump got his start, as I covered many years ago on the radio show. Donald Trump got his start with his parents money. He he had an injection of finances from his parents a couple times, and they were not poor people. And locking your money up in property is actually really smart. Property is an investment that is currently going up and up. And I think if we do a comparison over time, okay, in 2008, things took a nosedive. Yes, property can depreciate in value, but in 10 years, it can go up by 3 to 5 times. The property I'm sitting on has gone up by 3 times since I bought it 10 years ago. I kind of wish it wouldn't because I see the future and I'd rather have more people bidding and sell it. Well, I don't want to sell it, but I'm saying if that came up, I'd rather have more people bidding on it to sell it rather than I would be struggling to find somebody that would be able to match my price. Of course, that's not how things work in the capitalist world. We need to start coming up with a system where using other people's money, including your parents, has consequences to it. Because as a parent, you're reluctant to punish your child for a financial problem. Most kids are going to be in trouble anyways, getting into college or university and finding out I owe how much money? That's punishment enough. And for some kids, that's never going to be a problem because they're going to get out, they're going to be an auto mechanic, let's say. And they go through their apprenticeship, they go through all that sort of thing, they put some money aside for a down payment on a house, and it's still possible to live that part of the American dream, or the American nightmare, if you will. But everybody wants things fast. You want to be in your 30s, you want to have your house, you want to have your 2.5 kids, and you want it exactly in that order. Well, Donald Trump did that. But he was writing checks that he couldn't cover. He didn't have the assets. Again, he's not unique in this. I guarantee anybody with any sort of success has overvalued their assets at one point or another. And right now he's suffering because of it. I can't know what's going on inside of his mind. What I do know is he does show signs that he's cracking a little bit. And I don't mean he's going insane, but according to his own daughter, they saw a homeless man, and the Don said to his daughter, right now that man is $500 billion richer than I am because of everything that I owe. And if he's able to reflect on himself that way, well, it's not an, well, it is and it isn't an admirable thing. But it's a point worth noticing. He knows what he's doing. He always has. And like I said, it's hard to blame him because so many billionaires and millionaires are doing it. It is a path to wealth. It doesn't mean that you can pick up the tab at your local gentleman's club. No, that's the wrong word. I mean like one of those places where they still smoke cigars, drink whiskey, and all that kind of crap. Although those are becoming much rarer. As compared to the other gentleman's club where, waitresses bring you shooters and suggest that you drink them out of various places. God, the meaning of language changes, doesn't it? With that, I'd just like to give you that to think about, where most billionaires would not have that much money to draw on, not even 100 million. They have to have time to free it up, to get the loans, to get the backing, and his reaction is perfectly normal here. There's nothing untoward. His lawyers are actually doing the right thing, so look somewhere else if you want a good conspiracy theory, because this ain't one. With that, we hope you enjoyed this episode of the Silverlight Show. If you did, please like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to buy the t-shirt. Oh yeah, we don't have t-shirts. and we hope you have a fantastic day.